Hi, this is Mrs. Juliana. I'm so grateful that I can teach you by online school. This is page 2 that we're getting to, and on the parallel lines unit 15. So how exciting. We're going to do page 2 now. And it starts with some definitions of what happens when two lines are parallel. Now, you remember that a while ago we actually measured the angles, and we were able to see that in the two different neighborhoods, if two lines were actually parallel, then all of the small angles, if you recall, small angles are all the same measure. Oh, this is just not working out very well. Sorry, my little video keeps having a rough time. Maybe I should go grab some more tape. Anyway, all the small angles are the same. Let's see if that works. And then all of the large angles are the same. Crazy thing. There we go. That might work. All right, and then all the large angles the same. And one large angle plus one small angle is 180 degrees. They're supplementary together. So small angles are the same measure, and big angles are equal measure. Just write that. And then one big plus one small equals 180 degrees, if you remember that. Now, corresponding angles. Remember, those are same spot, different neighborhood. They're going to be congruent. I'm going to use a different color. So corresponding angles are congruent. All right, always congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. Consecutive interior angles are different. They're supplementary. So they add to 180. You can remember supplementary starts with S, same side starts with S. So that's how I always remember that. Now also, we learned vertical angles earlier. They're always congruent, and linear pairs are supplementary. So we have that information behind us. Now, if we have an angle that's one of the 8 angles produced by a transversal cutting two parallel lines, and we know what it is, measure of angle 1 is 65 degrees, you can pretty much fill in every single small angle the same, because vertical angles are the same, corresponding angles are the same measure, and then vertical angles are the same, or corresponding angles are the same. So all of those are going to be 65 degrees. And of course, one small, and they're all small angles, by the way, one small plus one big, or 180. Linear pair makes 180. So that's going to be 115 degrees with angle 4. And I can fill in all of the big angles, since they'll all be the same as well. So 2 will be 115. 6, because it's a corresponding angle to 2, and then 8 also will be 115. Woohoo! Alrighty, so we can just fill all these in. 2 will be 115 degrees, 3, 65 degrees, 4, 115 degrees, 5, 65 degrees, 6, 115 degrees, 7, 65 degrees, and 8, 115 degrees. So there we go. That's what happens when they're parallel. Exciting. Okay. In the next example, you see these two little arrows? Those two little arrows say these lines are parallel. Usually I think I did blue when they're parallel on my regular notes. So blue is parallel. And we know that just because of this sweet little arrow right here. That arrow says, hey, we're parallel. As long as it only has one arrow, then they're parallel. And that's kind of tricky. So we're going to realize that each of these two lines are two separate transversals, creating two separate types of angles there. So if we have two separate types of angles, then we'll know for sure that the angles in one neighborhood are all going to be big and small that are equal, and then the other neighborhoods will be big and small. So I kind of like to show you, this is one transversal, and I like to just circle the angles in that neighborhood, because those are all going to have the small, big relationships that are equal, and then these, same thing. All right, so those are two different transversals. So 2, we know nothing about 2 and 6 as they're a pair. But we do know 2 and 10 are corresponding, they'll be congruent. So we have to keep those neighborhoods straight. It's good to mark them so that they're easy to see. Now, we know that the measure of angle 10 is 102 degrees. So let's work on this neighborhood first. So if 10 is 102, so is 12, 102. So is its corresponding number 4, 102, and number 2 is 102. So we know all of those. Then if we take our little handy dandy calculator and we take 180 and subtract 102, then we get 78 degrees. So that means that 1, 3, 78, 9, and 11 are all 78 degrees. So that's how one neighborhood. And again, remember that just because the green neighborhood have the equal measures, that doesn't correlate anything at all with the pink neighborhood because it's a whole different transversal. So let's get one on the green, 78 or 38. Angle 7 is 38 degrees. So then we get angle 5, and then we get 13, and then we get 15 are all going to be 38. And of course, our linear pairs will be the bigger angle. So 180 minus 38 gives us our second measure, 142. So 142, 142, 142, 142, which makes me realize how much I miss you guys because now I can't ask you what the answers are. I have to figure them out myself. So horrible. Anyway, I miss you all telling me all my answers. Plus, what am I going to do without Jaylyn and Macy and Dalton and whoever else always told me when I was wrong, which is always great to know. Because now I can just make a video and I can be wrong and nobody's there to tell me so. Anyway, let's get back to this. So we're going to go through. 1 is 78. Fill them all out. 2 is 102. 3 is 78. 4 is 102. 5 is 38. 6 is 142. 7 we have. Then 8, 142. 9 is 78. 10, and then we have 11 is 78. And 12 is 102. Then 13 is 38, 14 is 142, 15 is 38, and 16 is 142. Sweet. Alrighty. Now this last one is a little tricky also because we have, again, parallel lines. The ones we know are parallel are going to be these with the arrows attached to them, a single arrow. So we know those are parallel. So with those being parallel, then all of a sudden we have 3 different transversals. And again, the neighborhoods on these transversals are specific measures that belong with relationships to each other there. So that's one transversal. Let's see. We'll do this one as the other transversal, and then we have a third transversal. And I like to sort of mark what angles, for instance, this 7 is corresponding to 10. All right. Now 6 and this angle are also corresponding, but 8 and 9 have been split up by this random line here. So 6 will equal the measure of both 8 and 9 together. Okay. Likewise, on this other neighborhood, we have 4 and 1 congruent. And then 5 and then 3 and 2 are going to be the same. Woohoo! In the faculty room. Free drinks in the faculty room. So aren't you so excited to hear an announcement? Sorry. You might just miss those by now, huh? Sorry about that. All right, so 2 is 41. 5 is 94. And 10 is 109. All right, so we've got all of those. Woohoo. Anyway, if we know 5 is 94, we can start working through angles here. If 5 is 94, then 4 will be its supplement, 180 minus 94, which is 86. So 4 will be 86. That means 1 will also be 86 because they're corresponding angles. Now, 2 and 3 together are the same as 94 because they're also down here. They're going to be corresponding angles. So if I take 94 and subtract 41, I get 53. So 3 must be 53 degrees. All right? So those two add to 94, and those are the same, 86. Okay, so over on this other transversal here, we have 109 is 10, so 7 would also be 109. And then if we take 180 and subtract 109, I'm just going to do this. still my previous one. It's 71, if I can get that. So 71 will be angle 6. I'm going to just draw a little arrow, 71 degrees. All right, now that means this also will be 71. Now what we need to do is we need to have one of the angles so that we can subtract it from 71 to get the other one, right? So how we would do that, for one thing, we know that with this being a transversal, I didn't actually highlight it, so it's the only unhighlighted one. If this is the transversal, then this angle here and this angle here are alternate interior angles that are not obstructed by any auxiliary lines. So if that one's 41, this one should also be 41, and then that leaves 30 for this angle right here. And then we're done. Sweet. All right, so number 1, we're going to put in 86. Number 3, 53. Number 4, 86. Number 5, we have then 71. Angle 7 is 109. Angle 8 is 30. Angle 9 is 41. And we're done. All right, that concludes our second video. And in a minute, we'll do these examples. I'm going to go get a free Snapple. So, woohoo! All right, have fun.